Before I start this recap, don't just be a guest. Smash that like button and drop a comment. It really motivates me and helps this video reach more awesome viewers like you. The movie starts with a little girl named Eve, and she's sitting alone in the police station, covered in blood, like she's been through something hard, and she's holding in her hands a spinning ballerina toy. And to know what happened to her, we go back in time and see her life with her dad Makaro while they're dancing together, happy, and her dad tells her that now it's just the two of them left after her mom and her sister Lena died. And Eve can't remember her mom or her sister Lena according to what he says. Her dad gives her a ballerina dancer toy and asks her to keep it safe and not break it. Their life is stable and they live in a house by the sea. But unfortunately that night, we see a group of armed people breaking into the house. And when Makaro hears them, he fights them quickly, and all he wants is to get to his daughter Eve and protect her from them. He manages to take down a few of them and distract them. Then he goes to his daughter Eve's room, takes her with him, and moves her to a place to hide behind the bookshelf. Then the armed people come in and fight with Makaro, but they're too many and they manage to catch him. And in that moment, the director, the head of the clan, comes in and starts talking to him. And we find out from what he says that Makaro was married to his daughter, but according to the director, he betrayed the clan when he decided to take his daughter Eve and run away from them. The director considers that Makaro took something that belonged to him, so he asks him where his granddaughter Eve is. But of course Makaro doesn't tell him her place, so then the director gives him a choice and tells him that he'll give him a gun with one bullet. And either he ends his own life and sacrifices himself so his daughter can live, or he will end him and then kill his daughter too. So Makaro decides to sacrifice himself so his daughter can live. He takes the gun, raises it to his head to end his life, but in that moment his daughter Eve calls him, and they discover her place. So quickly Makaro fights them again and stops them from reaching her. Eve comes out of her hiding spot and sees an X tattoo on the hand of one of the dead armed guys. She grabs the gun and saves her dad at the last second. Then Makaro moves quickly with her, and we see him planting bombs that will explode in seconds. He escapes with Eve from the house. They get out, and then there's a huge explosion. So the director thinks they died inside in the explosion. After that, Makaro feels safe that he got his daughter out and that she's safe, but he can't continue because he's too injured. He apologizes to her that he can't keep going with her and dies right there while she cries. And so Eve becomes alone after him. Then we see her later in the police station like at the start of the story. A guy named Winston comes to her and tells her he knew her dad Makaro and that her dad wanted her to live a normal life, but sadly that something she'll be deprived of in her life. He offers to take her to her dad's family so they can take care of her and raise her. He gives her the freedom to decide and reaches out his hand. Eve agrees to go with him. Winston takes her to a place that's like a ballet school, and at the same time as school is the base for the Ruska Roma gang. Winston takes her to meet the director. The director talks to her and tells her that she runs a school for teaching ballet and that she knows exactly what she's been through. And if she agrees to be one of them, they'll raise her and she'll be part of the Ruska Roma family. Eve agrees and goes to thank Winston. Winston gives her a gold coin in her hand. That coin is used by the gangs in New York among them. He tells her that when she needs a favor from him, she can come to him and give him that gold coin and he won't refuse. Then he says goodbye and leaves. Eve talks with a character named Nogi, and Nogi tells her she knew her dad and that he was one of the Ruska Roma gang. She tells her that just like that gold coin has two sides, it'll be in her hands to choose to be an avenger or a victim. 12 years pass, and we see Eve after she's grown up. She's on stage practicing ballet dancing, but she fails several times in front of the director. But Eve doesn't give up. She tries many times until her feet start bleeding. Her determination really impresses the director. During Eve's stay at the ballet school, she's not social and doesn't mix with her girl classmates except for one she becomes friends with. Her name is Tithania. We also see that while Eve trains in ballet, she also trains in martial arts with the guys. Eve tries to reach the required level, but fails a lot to beat the guys because she's a girl. So Nogi gives her advice that she shouldn't try to fight like the guys, but should use her strength as a woman and fight in her own way. Eve listens to her and manages to beat the guys in training, proving her place among them. One day after that, Eve is surprised that her friend Tithania's stuff is gone. She goes to the director to ask about her and why they took her away. Then the director tells her that Tithania wasn't at the required level and didn't have the skill and fierceness needed, unlike her. The director sees that Eve is now ready and prepared for her first mission with the gang. This is something Eve wanted and waited for a long time. After a few days, Eve sees with the girls John Wick coming to the place, asking the director for help. Of course, John Wick is like a legend to the trainee girls, and his reputation is ahead of him. So Eve takes the chance that he's there and talks to him before he leaves. She asks him how to be like him and do what he does. He tells her she can do that if that's what she wants to do, because it's her choice. He leaves her, but his words have a meaning deep inside Eve. After that, Nogi tells Eve about her first mission. The mission is to protect a girl named Park from an armed gang that wants to kidnap her. But the rules are to use rubber bullets and not kill anyone. Eve goes to the nightclub Park is in and watches her. When the armed people arrive, it's clear they're a fierce gang. Eve moves and goes in to protect Park. She stands in front of them, ready for the confrontation, and uses her skills to beat the gang members. She moves fast to catch up with their leader, who's taking Park with him and running away. She manages to catch them, grabs a metal ice crusher, and fights with it. The guy is strong, and she can't beat him at first, but she manages to hit him with the ice crusher. She doesn't kill him according to the orders, just beats him up badly, takes Park with her, and reassures her that she'll protect her. So Eve succeeds in her first mission, and they tattoo the Ruska Roma gang mark on her back because now she's officially part of the gang. 2 months later, we see Eve after she succeeded in a second mission where she took down a guy. She comes out of the place and heads to her car. But when she moves, another car comes and hits her. So Eve gets out of the car and fights with that guy and manages to finish him off. But then she notices on his hand the same X tattoo she saw before on the hands of the gang that killed her dad long ago. So she goes back to the director with that guy's cut off hand and asks her about that tattoo. The director gets nervous and doesn't like her question and tells her that tattoo belongs to a clan that shows no mercy and has no rules. And there's a truce between that clan and their gang, Ruska Roma. So Eve asks her why they wanted to kidnap her before and why they killed her dad. The director tells her to stop digging into the past and warns her that it's not in her best interest to discover the truth. But after that, Eve goes to Winston at the Continental Hotel and asks to meet him. They let her in to meet him, and Winston welcomes her, remembers her, and sits to listen to her. So Eve tells him that she wants to know the place of the clan that tried to kidnap her before and killed her dad. Winston also advises her to stay away from that and forget it. But Eve tells him that this is her will, and she's determined to reach them. And to make him give her that favor, she gives him the gold coin he gave her before. So Winston agrees to help her and tells her that clan doesn't have a specific place, but she might find their path through one of them named Daniel. That Daniel rebelled against them, and there's a money reward on his head. He tells her that Daniel is now staying in one of the Continental hotels. So Eve goes to the hotel place and enters it and books the room next to Daniel's room. And at that time, we see a group from the clan sitting in the hotel lounge waiting to attack Daniel's room, all under the leadership of someone named Lena. And when Lena sees Eve booking in the hotel, she gets suspicious and thinks she came to kill Daniel and take the reward for herself. After that, Eve goes out from her room's balcony and heads to Daniel's room. But she gets surprised by a little girl named AI. So that little girl asks her if she came here to hurt her dad, Daniel. Then Daniel comes from behind, Eve holding a rifle. Eve raises her hands, and Daniel asks her who she is. So Eve tells him that people from the clan killed her dad, and she wants to know their path and get revenge on them. Daniel tells her she doesn't know who she's dealing with, and it's better for her to leave. At the same time, we see that Lena orders the reward on Daniel's head to be doubled to $4 million so that the professional killers come to finish him before Eve kills him. Even though spilling blood is forbidden in the Continental Hotel, we see the armed guys moving toward the room. Then inside the room, Daniel sees the alert about the reward going up. So he tells Eve that the clan people she's looking for are around the hotel now, and her being with him made them think she came to kill him. That's why they raise the reward on his head. The other clan guys come in, and there's an exchange of gunfire. Daniel manages to get out with his daughter while Eve fights with one of them and knocks her out. Then she moves to catch up with Daniel and his daughter before they escape. She goes down with them in the elevator. Then Daniel asks her to help his daughter, AI, if anything happens to him and get her out of there safe. At first, Eve refuses, but when she looks at the girl, she changes her mind like she sees herself in her. Eve goes out of the hotel with AI to get her away from the gunmen. She sees Daniel fighting with one of them, and unfortunately, a bullet hits him. In that same moment, someone suddenly hits Eve on her head. She falls on the ground, and they take AI from her. After that, we see the Continental Hotel manager with his men holding Eve and 2 other major killers. Eve tells him that she didn't break the hotel rules or spill blood there, and she wasn't the one who started breaking the rules in the first place. She was just helping Daniel's daughter escape. So the manager orders them to kill the 2 other killers and let Eve go, and he even allows her to leave. After that, Eve goes to a weapons shop and shows the shop owner the gold coin she has and asks him if he knows the place of the clan that uses the X tattoo. The shop owner tells her that even if he knows, it's not in his best interest to tell her anything, and he offers her to buy weapons from him. He takes her with him to the basement so she can pick the weapon she wants. But then they get shot at while in the basement, and armed people from the clan come in. Eve moves quickly, goes into another room and gathers grenades to use against them as they follow her. When they come in after her, she uses the grenades on them and manages to finish off a few who try to reach her. Then she goes back to the shop owner who's still alive, even though he got shot. Because she helped him, he decides to show her the clan's place on the map and tells her that info isn't confirmed, but he heard people say that clan is gathered in a town among the mountains named Hallstatt. That's the info Eve needs, so she thanks him and moves. She goes to that place, which is in the middle of mountains and snow. When she arrives there by her car, she notices that the townspeople look weird and don't help anyone. She goes into a restaurant, but as soon as she's inside, she starts to feel suspicious and uneasy. A guy comes in through the door, and Eve doesn't feel safe about him. And that guy really pulls out a gun. So Eve moves quickly so he doesn't hit her, and they shoot at each other. Eve fights him, and even though he's strong, Eve manages to break his arm and shoots him. But she hears voices of other people coming into the restaurant, so she quickly goes up to the second floor and sees the cook there. She's surprised that the cook is holding a knife and fights her with it. They keep hitting each other with plates. Eve manages to push her into the fridge and locks her in it. Then more people come into the restaurant to finish off Eve, and we find out here that all the townspeople are from the clan. Eve gets ready to face them and fights a lot of them, succeeds in finishing them off, and escapes through the back door. At the same time, they tell the Chancellor that there's a girl who broke into the town and killed a bunch of the residents. So the Chancellor orders them to ring the bells, which is a signal for all the people that there's an intruder and they need to finish them off. We see a long chase where the armed townspeople go after Eve, who's trying to escape them. All the town people try to reach her and kill her. Eve manages to finish off more than one of them and fights with one using a cleaver. And he hits her in the back, but she manages to finish him. Because there are more of them, they manage to overpower her. At that time, Lena arrives in her car, gets out to see who that woman is, and notices from Eve's torn clothes and the Ruska Roma gang tattoo on her back that she's one of them. So she hits her, and Eve passes out. At that time, the Chancellor is with the little girl AI and tells her that he's her grandpa. He tries to make her trust him and tells her that her dad Daniel betrayed them when he tried to kidnap her and run from the clan. AI replies to him and tells him that she hates him. Then Lena comes and tells him that the girl they caught is from the Ruska Roma gang. And we go to Eve, and she wakes up and finds herself tied to the chair. The Chancellor tells her that there was a truce between his clan and Ruska Roma. So Eve tells him that her director isn't the one who sent her and that she came to this place by herself. The Chancellor doesn't yet know who Eve is, so he asks her why she came to the town and why she's chasing the clan. That's when Eve tells him that men from that clan killed her dad long ago and tried to kidnap her too. So the Chancellor looks at her closely and realizes that this is his granddaughter. At that moment, Lena arrives. So the Chancellor goes out to talk to her and reveals to her that the girl they're holding is actually her little sister Eve, who came to get revenge on him because he killed their dad long ago. Lena is shocked and can't believe it. Just then they hear gunfire from inside. So the Chancellor goes in to see what happened and finds that Eve managed to free herself from the men and finish them off except for one of them who's pointing the gun at her. But before he shoots her, her sister Lena fires at him. The Chancellor is surprised by what she did. So Lena goes after her sister, Eve, who's escaping, and sees her enter a nearby house. Lena follows her and holding her gun. Eve suddenly appears and takes the gun from her. Lena talks to her and tells her that all this time she thought she died with their dad and never ever imagined she was living somewhere else. She tells her that she's her older sister and that she remembers her from long ago when she was little because they were born in this town. But their dad Macro favored Eve over her and decided to take her with him after their mom died and left Lena to live with the clan. Eve is shocked when she finds out her sister Lena is alive. But when she hears her say that their dad Macro betrayed the clan and deserved to die, she tells her angrily that their dad wanted to give them a normal life. And if they had told her that clan people killed him, she wouldn't have joined Ruska Roma and become like this. All their dad wanted was to give them a normal life far from cruelty and violence. At the same time, we see clan men approaching the house outside, waiting for orders from the Chancellor. They're surprised when the Chancellor orders them to finish off Eve and Lena together inside the house. They throw grenades at the house they're in, and there's a big explosion. Eve gets badly injured but survives. She finds Lena badly wounded and comes close to her. Lena tells her that she missed her. At that moment, armed men enter the house. Eve appears holding a sword she found in the house and finishes them off with it. Then she hears on the radio the Chancellor asking if they finish them off. So Eve replies to him and tells him that she's coming to kill him and no one will be able to protect him from her. The Chancellor gets worried and scared. So he decides to call the director of Ruska Roma and tells her that what Eve is doing is like a declaration of war between them, and that if she doesn't step in immediately and stop her, he'll declare war on them and finish off all her gang. The director is forced to act and tells him that she'll send someone to finish off Eve, but on the condition that none of his men interfere when the killer arrives. The Chancellor agrees and gives her till midnight. The surprise is that the person the director assigns to kill her is John Wick, who arrives by train there to carry out the mission. When the Chancellor finds out he arrived, he speaks on a microphone and gives orders to the townspeople that no one interferes and lets the wolf chase the prey alone. Of course, John Wick manages to reach the place where Eve is hiding. He tells her he'll give her the choice to either leave this town right now or he'll kill her. That's when Eve comes a bit closer to him and reminds him of herself and tells him that she met him before and asked him how she could do like him and break the rules. She tells him that she's not going to leave. They start fighting each other. John Wick is obviously much stronger than her. He manages to pin her to the ground and asks her to leave, but Eve refuses and doesn't give up. She tries more than once to attack John, and each time John overpowers her. Each time he repeats his request and asks her to leave so he doesn't have to kill her. He brings the gun close to her and tells her she has to leave. Eve tells him emotionally that these people killed her dad and asks him to let her finish what she came for. John Wick feels for her and tells her that he'll give her half an hour only till midnight. If she doesn't manage to kill the Chancellor, he'll kill her. They agree on that, and John Wick leaves her. So Eve moves quickly, goes to the castle, hits one of the guards, and blows up a grenade on him to draw attention. The Chancellor knows at that moment that she's alive and that John Wick didn't finish her. So he gives orders on a microphone to the people to intervene and attack her. Eve moves, storms the armory, and takes a flamethrower from there. It's a deadly weapon. At the same time, the Chancellor is talking to his right-hand man and asks him to go finish off Eve himself. Meanwhile, the gunmen enter the armory. Eve opens fire on them with the flamethrower. At the same time, the Chancellor's right hand takes another flamethrower and goes to face Eve. He appears to her, and each of them opens fire on the other, trying to burn him. Eve runs from him as he tries to hunt her with fire. Eve goes out from the tunnels of the armory and sees the gunmen outside, looking for her. There isn't much time left till midnight, so she goes out and opens fire on them and burns them. At the same time, the Chancellor insists on not leaving his place despite the danger. But when they push him, he decides to take the little girl AI with his men, gets in the car, and leaves. Then Eve faces the Chancellor's right-hand man. At that point, Eve runs out of fuel in her flamethrower. He opens fire on her with flames. Eve dodges quickly, jumps inside a building, takes a water hose, goes up with it, and counters the flamethrower with water. The water manages to beat the fire, but Eve falls while holding the hose. The fighter grabs the flamethrower and is about to burn her. But at that moment, John Wick is on top of a building with his rifle watching what's happening. He shoots at the flamethrower tank, and it blows up on the guy holding it, saving Eve. Eve is surprised that John Wick is helping her. There are only minutes left till midnight according to the deal. So she moves quickly and sees the car with the Chancellor and the little girl AI inside. She shoots at the driver with her pistol, hits him, and the Chancellor gets out of the car and talks to Eve. He assures her that nothing will change by his death, and that even if she kills him, the clan will still exist. He tells her that it's her fate to be a professional killer, and she can't change that. He tries to convince her to join her mother's clan, but Eve shoots him in the middle of his head while he's talking. We see John Wick waiting to see what happens, and if she hadn't done that according to the deal, he would have finished her. Eve goes to take the little girl AI from the car and assures her that she'll protect her just like her dad asked. She takes her with her. After that, we see little AI with her dad Daniel at the hospital, and we find out that Daniel didn't die, but survived the bullet. After a while from all that happened, we see Eve at the theater watching her friend Tatiana perform a ballet dance. At the same time, we know that there's a message being prepared with a money reward on Eve's head worth $5 million. Eve sees the bounty alert on her phone and knows that she's now wanted. We notice that several people attending the show start seeing the alert on their devices. That's when Eve realizes that she's going to be hunted. She moves and goes out the back door of the theater, and the movie ends.